Okay. Awesome stuff. Yeah. Um, Sorry about being late. I forgot what day it was. Um, so what had happened was I had finished dinner and and I hopped on Discord. One of my buds was playing Dota, and I was like, "Hell, I'm in." We played Dota. Completely lost track of time, but here we are. All is well in the world. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't one of those. Oh shit! I went to bed. I gotta wake up. No, no. It was just haha. Whoopsie daisy. Got caught up doing something else. Oh yeah. Did you guys watch Battlogue? It was pretty interesting actually. I'm not like some of the faces throw me off because when they're at an angle they look really weird to me. But the suits look really good. Yeah, sorry, I'm really friggin' hungry, so I'll be munching on this as we go. Okay. So, let's take a look at the new content. Battlelogue 1 Device A. Blazing. So, we had this as a gacha suit a couple of weeks back as part of the Super Sokai stuff. From this, it looks like they're going to be adding them all in as welfare suits too. So for the people that really like the suits but didn't want to use the Haro, this will give you what you want. It's good beans. Alright, so Blazing Gundam Welfare Head. Head-mounted Vulcan. The EX skill's completely worthless. Mobile Fighter Close Combat. Now, I can always get behind a Welfare with the Mobile Fighter tags. It can be really difficult, especially for newer players that join in, to get the Mobile Fighter tag, because it's only available on very specific suits. Primarily, in terms of things that are easy to obtain, welfares. And as we all know, waiting for your favorite welfare to rerun, oh boy, you're in for a rough time. So it's really nice to see that another welfare is being added with the mobile fighter tag. Cool beans. Statistically, token amounts of melee doesn't break 1,000 and less than 3k shot. A lot of shot attacks, surprisingly, for a more melee suit head. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Okay. Great word tags. The stats are acceptable, I guess, for a welfare. And, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the torso. I said torso. While mobile fighter, melee crit rate boosted by 17%. Melee crit rate in general, it's not really worth investing into, so this is effectively a wash. Statistically, alright, so we have literally token shot attack, 0, and then you get the carryover. In terms of offensive stats, though, the torso actually does significantly well. We're pushing 1,400 melee attack for a welfare torso. That's really high. Good to see. And still has amazing melee word tags. That's a pretty baller torso. You know, minus the trait. Arms. Blazing Shot. Deploy your arm thrusters and fire a peculiarly shaped energy beam. B power, D pierce, low cooldown. You're right, that may be a spoiler for the Battlogue that we haven't seen yet. It is what it is, right? Mobile fighter. Okay, so we get rid of close combat and get 4 computers. This makes sense because in the Battlelogue thing, you know, they're all fighting inside of electronics, you know, digital stuff. So the 4 computers tag makes sense. I don't like the 4 line of tags. 4 computers like has one thing that one trait it activates that's, you know, makes it considered viable. But due to the stat boost, I think it's fair to just go for the 5% on what you need. But each to their own, right? Statistically, we're looking at about, 1,300 shot attack on the arms, which for a welfare, that's actually pretty high. Melee-wise, we're just over 3,000. It's not that bad. Yeah, at least it kept the mobile fighter tag. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Legs. Combat stance. All right, raise your melee attack by 39%. No muss, no fuss, no extra hassle. You press a button, you get a big fat boost. I have no complaints about this. This is a alpha buff, so it's in the alpha, beta, gamma line. Really nice because this will stack with awakenings and it will stack with the general buffs you get from EX skills. So this is actually pretty good. Very low cooldown as well, decent enough duration. It boasts the fourth highest buff in the game for melee attack. We have 59%, 54%, 49%, and then this one. The 59% only seen in limited time suits post-alteration, so this pre-alteration is extremely good. Good stuff. Mobile fighter for computers again, and statistically we're looking at about 1100, 1200 melee, which for legs and backpack, that's really nice to see. Typically they're a lot lower on the offensive scale, so nice to see them breaking 1k, especially on the welfare. Backpack. Shot damage raised 10%, melee power boost by 25%. Again, much like the arms, no muss, no fuss. You take 10% more shot damage, but you do 25% more melee. That is one heck of a good trade-off. Just don't get hit. Mobile fighter tag again, dope. Offensively, we're looking pretty good. 1500 melee attack. Token amounts of shot. This boy gonna slap. Alright. It's nice seeing the Tonfa modules come back in the welfare pool. It's pretty nice. With technique attribute, melee damage output boost by a flat number. That trait is just pain. Mobile fighter, close combat. Ooh, nice. Nice tags. Offensively, it's a welfare weapon. Okay. And swords. When one enemy shot down, melee power boost by 25%. Melee power boost, always nice. The prerequisite, though, where one enemy shot down does limit the content you can use this in. You're not going to be able to use this at all in one-on-one arena, where there's one multi-mission boss, where there's one thing you're fighting. But as soon as you fight more than one enemy, this could be pretty useful. Yeah, it's okay. You know, not great, not bad. In the middle. Mobile fighter for computers. It has this, yeah, I wish that was close combat, but what can you do? And stats, it's a welfare. Okay. Honestly, for a welfare, it has a significant amount of melee on it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. For greens, we got ranged, skill, and charge speed. Fancy. Okay. And what about under... Nope. What about under B? What do we got for our awakening chips? Pro Tag, Xeon, mid-range, 4 space, and 4 computers. That can definitely use more 4 space, as you guys can see. Ooh, I almost ran out. Okay. What are the welfares? Or not welfares, the 4 stars. We got Musha, Providence, and is that the full armor Thunderbolt? Yes, it is. Cool. The full armor Thunderbolt's backpack, if I remember correct, has a really nice EX skill on it. One of the bog standard 4 stars that we expect to have a nice cutscene on it. Beyond that, if I were to put in a personal thing, I'd say Providence, personally, because I really like the way it looks. I like the general silhouette of the Providence. It's not that great, but it looks cool. Okay. So, let's hop on over to the gacha. Let's take a look at the new suit and pilots. Whenever it decides to load, of course. I almost think I should preload this before the stream just to save everyone time. Alright. So, oh, fancy. Oh, this came back, eh? Cool. I'll roll that before the stream ends. Okay. So, the Gundam F92 I-type. Ooh, fancy. I'm just going to take a few bites of my grub here real quick. Good stuff. You guys are right. Providence Arms. Is it a magazine, really? I remember it had an EX skill. Couldn't remember if it was a magazine or not. Not bad. You will have to invest, obviously, but... Alright. So, F92 I-Type. From the ground up, let's take a look. With technique attribute, enemy shooting power reduced by 30%. What's for dinner tonight? So this really isn't dinner. This is more of like a post-dinner snack, because I had dinner quite a few hours ago now. I really like the Special K almond. It's really good. Like, really good. I don't know why. I've always had a real sweet tooth. Especially for things that are like vanilla flavored. The vanilla almond stuff, so good. Alright. So where I left off here. Technique attribute, enemy shooting power reduced by 30%. So this is only going to affect the suit that it's actually put onto. It's not a general decrease of enemy stats. It's just how much damage they do to the suit this is on. Technique attribute, very easy to activate. Enemy shooting power reduction, not bad. It's just because it's not, you know, for other suits, just for the one this is on, limits its usability. Each to their own, though. High mobility. Ooh, it's interesting seeing Ace exclusive as a secondary tag. Typically, we see that as the first tag slot, and it stays static across the suit. We have seen examples where it's the second slot, like here. It's just much rarer. So, good selection, though. Good tags. Statistically, we're looking at about, what, 5k shot attack or so? And considering this is a standard suit, this isn't a limited, it's not a festival or Sokai or anything, that's actually pretty good. Good stuff. Right. Since it is a non-limited suit, if you just wait 4 weeks, you can pick this out of the 4-star pick ticket pool. For any new players that are just picking this game up now, by the time we have 4 weeks pass, you'll have quite a few 4-star pick tickets. They love handing those out, and I ain't complaining. Speaking of alterations, only a select number of standard suits are eligible for alteration. Yeah, not all suits have had alterations added to them. Only so many have. But you have to remember a couple of things here. First of all, we didn't get alteration for, what, a year and a bit? I think it was part of the first anniversary. By that time, we had passed through, what, 50-odd weeks of content? And do keep in mind that we're getting, what, welfare, 2 suits on top of that. You're getting 3 to 4 suits every month, you know, ballparking it. Right? That's a lot of suits. And expecting them to have, you know, like 150 plus alterations ready to go when they drop the content is kind of insane. Instead, they've been retroactively adding, you know, 5, 6, 7 suits here and there. And then there's like a huge spurt with nothing. So it's just a matter of time. We'll eventually have alterations for everything. But there's still a good chunk of suits that don't have alterations. Okay. Anyways. Statistically, the head is pretty good. No real complaints on it. It's got a healthy amount of shot attack to it. It's got a okay amount of melee, but to be expected. It's more of a shot-oriented suit from what I'm getting from the word tags. Yeah, tag's good, stats good, trait not good, but is what it is. Torso. Job gauge increase down 10%, EX skill power boosted by 30%. For me, I'm okay with this. I don't like the job gauge. I still think that there's a lot of work they could do to make it really good and make us want to use it more. Personal opinion, right? Each to their own. But the EX skill power boost, to trade that, 100% I'm in like a dirty shirt, man. Feature I don't like, down the drain. Thing I like, up. 10 out of 10. Alright. High mobility, Ace exclusive again. Good to see. Statistically, we're running, what, 1900 or so shot attack, and we're running 2k melee. It's an interesting stat spread. I'll give it that. A torso, non-limited, running almost 2k offensively on both stats. It's interesting. Alright. I like the trait. I like the word tags. I like the stats. Nice. You got yourself a nice chest there, F92 I-Type. Got a nice chest. Shield parts EX skill power boosted by 30%. So, this is a very interesting case. We have a lot of nice shield EX skills. And this is also a neutral, meaning it's not for melee or shot, it's just all shield EX skill power boost. That's really nice to see. That'll boost any shield magazine EX skills, because God knows we got a handful of those. It'll boost any yeet skills, because we got a good handful of shield yeets. This is a very universal trait. However, obviously it suffers from the fact that it only increases the damage of a shield. If it was a general EX skill power boost, I think obviously it would have been much nicer. However, you know, it also would have made it really good, and this is a non-Sokai, non-limited thing, so I can't see that really being where they want to go with that. But it's okay. High mobility 8 exclusive tags again? Alright. No resistances at all. Those arms are made out of paper mache, not even plastic. And statistically, we actually break 5k melee attack and break 2k shot. That's a good set of arms too. That's good stuff. Legs. While high mobility, EX skill cooldown reduced by 20%. High mobility is a relatively common tag to see, so it'll be easy enough to activate. It's also used as the trigger for a lot of part traits, this one included, so there's a good reason to put it in your builds. On top of that, you get a general EX skill cooldown reduction of 20%. That's a significant number, so good stuff. High mobility Federation, that's an interesting tertiary there, Federation. And statistically, we're looking at, wow, for a set of legs, that's actually really good. Looking at about 1900, 1950 melee attack. We're looking at about 1700 shot. It's good stuff. Do keep in mind I'm using the 30% change gears when I'm doing my little napkin math in my head. And that's just purely because most people will have a 30% change gear. Those are pretty easy to make. I know that the 40% exists. I know some players have them, but that's the key. Some players have them, not the overwhelming majority. So I'm just doing the 30% in my head. Deal with it. All right. Backpack. Valiant Heart. Thrust a charged sword to cleave through enemies. You lower their physical resist by 29%. Okay. This will really boil down to the animation. If it's literally just like a quick stab thing, I got no problem with it. If it's got a lot of wind up, if it has a lot of potential to whiff, kind of changes the story a bit. We'll figure that out once we get over to the Twitter videos and take a look at what it actually does. Until then, though, on paper, B+ power, low cooldown. Okay. It's a dash and a spin. Okay. I'm assuming it's going to be really quick and to the point, but we'll find that out in probably like 5 minutes once I'm done looking at this and I hop on over to the Twitter stuff. High mobility Federation, and the stats are more or less equivalent to what we saw on the legs. Dang. That's a very stat-loaded suit there. Alright, let's take a look at Mr. Beam Lancer. Beam Shotgun, B+ Pierce, B- power out of the box. Something tells me that's going to hit like a wet noodle. Even though it does have a B- power rating, the fact it also has a B+ Pierce rating, on a non-limited suit, I got serious concerns about this. We'll check it when we get into the Twitter videos, much like the previous part. What I will say is, again, on paper, it looks solid. 3-second initial cooldown, low general cooldown, B- power, B+ Pierce. On paper, this just rips the enemy's HP apart because it just ignores most of their defenses to begin with. But practice over theory. And the shield, Flight Shield, blue flash counter, A minus pierce, B minus power, low cooldown. And this is a ramming skill. You use your shield to ram them. That sounds dangerous. That sounds mighty dangerous. Again, on paper, looks good. I need to see it in practice before I really make any heads or tails of it, though. Okay. That's interesting. The F92 has, like, decent stats on it. Well, a little more than decent stats, especially for a non-limited suit. It's got an interesting selection of word tags on it. The EX skill selection, purely looking at the numbers, looks good. And I don't really have a ton of complaints on that front. Oh, we'll see what happens when the Twitter videos show us what's actually going down. Yeah, self-yeet. Alright. So, we're going to take a look at Nikki Robert, and then the other pilot, and then we'll roll on over to the Twitter videos, and I see everyone saying that we don't have any alterations. I don't know if I should trust you guys. Alright, Nikki Robert. When melee attack is over 5,000, enemy all power reduced by 25%. That is nasty. That is downright nasty. Alright. Now, because of the lack of a secondary trait on this, this is going to be kind of a real hit or miss kind of deal. But the fact that you just straight out reduce 25% of everything the enemy's got by just the fact he's your pilot, I think is really dope. Yeah, much like the other all power increase stuff is really, really good. All power reduce is also really, really good. Just that is some nice numbers. Good for 3 versus 3 arena. Thing is, this works exactly like the enemy shooting power reduced or whatever. It'll only actually apply to the suit that this is on. If it applied to all of the suits, so if you had it on one of your other suits and it reduced the enemy's power by 25% for all of your guys, this would be like an triple S tier pick right then and there for a secondary suit. But it only applies to the suit he's actually in, which does heavily reduce the value that it brings. However, if you were a particularly cheeky sort, you could build an all enemy power reduction, like 100% flat, and make that suit the one that has all your heal EX skills for 3v3 arena. That way, you now have a heal bot that cannot take any damage whatsoever. That would be the true cheeky build. Alright. So he is an outfighter, statistically, 1900 melee attack, token shot, Xeon heavy armor. Very interesting pilot composition. The stats are actually pretty good for what he is. You know, a 3-star. He's got a very interesting trait to boot. And the word tags are both nice tertiaries. Not great, not terrible. In that nice healthy zone. Alright. And Misa Satsukino. With technique attribute, melee crit rate boosted by 30%. We've already talked about melee crit rate. Yeah, it's not really worth it. Outfighter as well. Ooh, look at those numbers. Spicy. Okay, so we're looking at about 2,800 melee attack or so, which for a non-build project pilot's actually really nice. A healthy amount of melee defense in there. The shot defense is, I think, a little on the crazier side. It actually pushes her shot attack up to 1,200. Interesting. Close combat for computers. Close combat's a very powerful tertiary tag for melee builds. For computers, I've already talked about that one. Interesting. Now, fully upgraded, those stats are like pretty good. If this pilot ever gets an alteration, I honestly think she'll be able to compete with, like, the build project stuff. Because that general stat pool's really good. Yeah, she definitely could have used a better trait. But here we are. It is what it is, right? Alright. That's actually really interesting. Cool stuff. Alright. Well, since everyone keeps saying there's no alterations, I'm going to take you guys at face value. Let's crack open the Twitter stuff and see if we can find our... Nope, I don't want my stuff getting taken down because Bandai sees that and goes, ho, he's trying to restream. Time to slap him. That'd be heartbreaking, let me tell you what. Alright, first of all, let's see here. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Okay, that was a little more interesting than I expected on the backpack. So that's a straightforward dash and then a side. Now, here's my question. Is that a set distance before it'll actually do that? Or is that one of those, it detects how far you are from an enemy and then triggers the second part of the animation? If it's the former, that's kind of useless, honestly. If it's the latter, though, and it actually, like, detects... Okay, that's really just like point A to point B and you swing. And it'll actually be doubly good when you're against AIs because they like shooting directly at you and not moving. So when you're dashing at them and you do that sudden jump to the side, you'll dodge probably whatever they were charging to throw at you, which I think is kind of funny. It'll spin if it's close to the enemy, but there's a max distance. Alright, well that makes it not that bad at the end of the day. It's pretty okay. All things considered, for a standard suit with those numbers, that's not bad. I wish there were iframes on it. Based on the way the animation plays out, doesn't look like there's any at all. And yeah, I don't really have much more complaints about that. The wind up is quick. The wind down is quick. Dang. Alright, let's keep going. Let's look at the javelin, which is clearly not an actual javelin. Wait, did that just fire the singular head? No, it didn't. It fired multiple pellets. I want to capture that. Okay. Yeah, and it hits a lot of times. Now, what I will say is those look like there was homing capabilities on them, which makes it okay. I was worried about it being like a real big spread shot kind of deal, which would make it really just, But the fact that it fires them, and they just kind of do a quick spread and then home in on their target. For something with B plus B minus, that's actually not a bad animation. Okay. Yeah, my verdict for the last one is usable. My verdict for this one as well, I'm going to say, is also usable. However, caveat on both of these. Do keep in mind, just because they have B power doesn't mean they're actually going to hit as hard as a B power skill should. We have very few cases of it, but they are there, where a skill has B, B minus, or B plus power, but it hits equivalent to something in the lower tier, C, even D. Never assume, I shouldn't say that. It should be safe to assume that when something says B, it's actually B power, but considering this is a gacha suit, I would be very hesitant before rolling for these parts if you're going to roll. If you're going to use a part ticket on it, go right ahead. You know, that's a part ticket. You can farm those up like they're friggin' candy after a while. But it's weird playing with B power skills because sometimes they work as intended, sometimes they just don't, and it's weird. Yeah. It is really rare for a melee weapon, specifically this one, to have a ranged EX skill, especially one like this, right? Like a actual ranged animation and everything. Really neat. All right, and our last EX skill for the day. What did I just watch? Did I just watch a man do 0 damage over and over and over again? Was that really what I just saw? Yeah, he did actually do 1 damage on all of those hits. Okay, so... Oof. So there's a couple of things to unpack here. Okay, first of all, when we looked at all the other EX skills, they did damage in the hundreds, if not in the thousands. I'm going to assume, as they've done with almost every single demo video of this since time immemorial, they use the same suit for this thing. What I'm seeing here is, even though the other EX skills are actually doing damage, this is hitting like a wet noodle. This scares me. I don't know what to expect from this. Couple of things to say though. One, the animation is extremely long. It is split into multiple parts. The other thing I want to check here real quick, did time stop? I want to see if time stopped during that EX skill. No, it keeps ticking. Okay. So, this doesn't freeze time. You got a huge animation cycle going on. It's split into 3 parts. This is going to be one of those, it's usable, but I really would not recommend this. There's just a lot of what the fuck going on here, pretty much. So, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so with that out of the way, and no alterations to look at, no build project pilots to look at, this is a weird day. Looks like we're finished already. Don't fret though, we have this thing to roll. And while that's rolling, I'm gonna sit here and eat my cereal. Ooh, 50% off free missions. That's always nice. Any premium tickets? I don't actually know. I'll check. No, the hit detection is there, Jin. There is actually damage. It's just 1 damage at a time. Good stuff. Alright. So what do we got? Any pilots that are actually good? That's the real question here. Hey, Diarca with your stupid little helmet. Hey, look at this guy. Alright. Honestly, that's not a bad turnout. Cool stuff. Okay. Now let's see here. Got leisure capsules, free capsules. It does not look like I got any premium capsules to yeet. C'est la vie. Okay. It might be bugged or damage not showing properly. That's the thing, right? Is all the other EX skills worked fine. That was the only one that hadn't. And up until this point, every time we see an EX skill demonstration like this, it's always been the same suit where they just do a mono build and go with that. So, seeing their debug mono build do 1 damage at a time, kinda yikes. But there's no way that's the case. That's got to be a bug, right? But I guess we won't know until someone actually gets their hands on it, so... yeah. Anyways, with that, guys, I am actually going to wrap up, and I'm actually pretty happy we finished at midnight this time, because I got to be up in 6 hours for the Fate Grand Order stream. I'm excited. Got the Halloween event coming, so... yeah, it's her neighbor outside. I'll have to check. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for hanging out as always, and I will see you guys all in the next stream. I do intend on streaming more. We've just run into a few hiccups with the new place, and before I set up a streaming schedule, I do want to resolve those issues. It's going to be expensive, unfortunately, but the joys of moving in. So, anyways, peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.